You're done.
Speaker, very little of what has gone on in this chamber in the last week or so would have had any connection with New Zealanders who would be generally reviled by the mudslinging, the abuse, the name-calling and all of the vituperation and retribution that seems to have become the stock in trade of parliamentary debate of recent times. Perhaps it is forgivable in the smallest extent by the pending election, but it is not justifiable, nor is it appreciated by the bulk of New Zealanders. For most New Zealanders, the challenge is a very simple one. This country has come out of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, the global financial crisis. We have been through 5 or 6 very difficult, tough years, where the Minister of Finance, the government, have shown considerable discipline both in terms of their spending policies and the direction of overall economic policies. And now, instead of name-calling and cat-calling and rumour-mongering, what New Zealanders are looking forward to is a dividend on the investment that they made in 2008 and 2011 when they elected this government to office. They expect to see some signs in tomorrow's budget of progress for the future, of steps that give them confidence in decisions they have to make in their lives and give opportunity and the prospect of hope to their children. Mr. Speaker, one area that I want to talk about, which I think is very critical to the future of this country, is tertiary education. I think it is time to take a more radical approach to the issue of funding tertiary education. The current system of a fees-based system paid by the contributor, the student, supplemented in some cases, but by no means all, by a system of student allowances and a loan system, has, I think, had its day. The fact we have large student loan indebtedness, we are doing all we can quite properly to recover that, suggests that a continuation of the same sort of policy is simply a repetition of what we've done previously. And maybe the way forward is to turn the system on its head, to abolish student allowances completely, because not all students are currently eligible, and to use the money thus saved to reduce, and if not reduce, eliminate the tertiary fees that they pay. So you would get to a system with some modest additional investment from the government of tertiary education returning to essentially being free to the user, but they then being responsible for their living costs and their course costs throughout, and that would be where the loan system in a much more disciplined way could take some effect. Mr. Speaker, carrying on the way we are will simply produce more indebtedness and more problems for people trying to recover from that indebtedness and make a long-term contribution to New Zealand. And there's another area I think is worth considering. For many New Zealanders, the option of tertiary education simply is not there because there is no family history of a tertiary education. The family does not have that in their, if you like, set of horizons about what their children might do. I think there is scope for considering some form of incentive to enable first-time entrants from families who've not previously been in the tertiary education system to come in and to benefit, because that is the way you broaden the basis of the system. That is the way you give access to those who may well be currently excluded, but it's also the way in which you make it clear that tertiary education is not the preserve of the elite, but an opportunity for all to participate, and as a consequence you not only broaden the base of education, broaden the base of achievement and the ability for people to make a contribution to our society that is positive long-term, but you encourage future generations as well. So, Mr. Speaker, when we start to think about the steps forward that I hope this budget will indicate tomorrow in terms of us having turned the economic corner, then it is important to start to think how we utilise the fruits of those long-term gains to the benefit of the people that we are elected to serve. Because I say one thing, sir, as I close. The expectation of New Zealanders is that we contribute positively. It's not that we carry on the way this House has been doing of recent times, where I think we have reached new lows and where the danger is of an even lower floor to be set if we continue as we are. Tomorrow provides an opportunity to move forward with some optimism. I hope that the Minister and the Government take it and that the Parliament responds accordingly.
Grant Robertson.
Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister stood up in the House today, and as he often does, he